So this is a Holzfforma 372, and runs like shit. Straight out of the box, runs like shit. And I think the problem with that is this right here. See, this is your throttle right here. All right, hit the throttle, that opens. It's not adjusted properly though. Like, you can see in there, you're not supposed to be able to. It's supposed to be like, see how open that is right now on the top? Like, it's not supposed to be like that. So what this saw was doing is, you know, even straight out of the box, you could only give it full throttle. You'd have to let it warm up for a while, and then you could only give it full throttle. If you tried to give it like a little bit of throttle, like kind of, you know, not going crazy, you just give it a little bit of throttle, it would just die out. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and order an OEM carb for this, which isn't here yet. But then I'm doing like some research, whatever, because I don't really know a whole lot about these things. Apparently, that's not normal, what I'm looking at right here. So we'll see if on the new carb, if it's like that. But what I'm going to try to do is adjust this, make it so it's more closed by taking this screw out, and see if I can make it be how it's supposed to be. Because I assume they just probably put it together wrong. So, yep. Okay, so I have it put it back together now, and you can see that's how it's supposed to be. It's shut now instead of being all open. It is open a little bit, but it's not open a crazy amount. I think what happened is whoever put this carburetor together, I think they must have flicked this throttle, had it set to high idle, which is what happens here when you flick the throttle, or yeah, effectively it puts it on high idle. I think they did that and then installed the piece there, so it was constantly at high idle already, and then you can't adjust it. You know, you can't adjust your idle worth shit because it's always at high idle. So we can kick that off here. I think that's what happened. I think they had hit this, had it at high idle, and then put the piece in. So that could have been our whole problem, and I didn't have to spend like $70 on a Walbro carb, which I did. But at least I'll have a backup. I think that was our entire issue, was whoever put this carb together did that before they put this plate in there, the throttle plate. Let's throw it back in and see how it does. If that fixes it, then yeah. Alright, I just put it all back together real quick. Air filter and whatnot. If this solves my problem, I swear, I spent like hours trying to tune this saw, and it would never tune. I couldn't get it to tune. The main problem that I was having with this saw is that, like I said before, it would idle. I didn't say this actually, but it would idle fine. Like, you could get it to idle if you played with the idle screw, like, enough. You could get it to idle kind of okay. Like, it would idle and it would stay idle, but the second you would go to give it throttle, you would go, and it was like we wanted to throw up. It was like, and then it would die. So like, after you let it warm up a while, you could go ving, 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 ving. But if you tried to go a little bit, it would go and die. So we're gonna try to tune this now, see what happens. Okay, I just stuck the bar on there real quick because I want to test out too. The other thing this saw was doing is you could cut with it, right? And it would let you cut with it if you're at high RPM. But if you touch the chain to the wood and you were not at full throttle or high RPM, if you were low RPM and you touched it to the wood, it would just stall right out. So it was basically giving me what I thought was probably going to end up being an air leak. I compression tested it. I didn't even get to the point of air leak testing it, or vacuum testing it or anything like that, because I wanted to wait till I got the new carburetor. But if I don't need to do that, then I don't need to do that. So we're gonna find out. I think this honestly probably fixed our whole problem, but let's go cut with it. Or we'll start it up, try to tune it, and then we'll try to cut with it, see what happens. chain brake on, decomp pressed, choke on. Fires third pull. Alright, I gotta adjust the idle right off the bat here. See what it does one more pull. I just flooded it. Alright, hang on. See what that does. Oh, I think I flooded it. Alright. Let's put it back. Choke, see what happens. Fires. Alright. Okay. This thing needs some tinkering with. I don't know where it was set from the factory, because I mess with it a lot. Gotta go the other way. Oh, I got the choke on still, damn it. Alright. Just tweaking it. I don't know where these jets are set. I got the low all the way in, so I'm gonna do one in like a 1/8 quarter turn or so, and I'm going to change the idle up a little bit. We'll see what that does. So I didn't really show you guys what I was doing to tune it, mostly because I don't know what I'm doing when I'm tuning this. I was just basically bringing the idle screw in and out, and then the chain started spinning, and if the chain's spinning, then your idle screw is wrong, because you just need to make it so that your chain's not spinning with the chain brake off. So you can see right now, the idle screw is set probably close to where it's supposed to be. I'm not going to tell you guys that it's perfect, because I'm sure it's not. It revs up. See, the chain's still moving a little bit, but that's really not a big deal. I think it's right about where it's supposed to be. Our issue's fixed, I think. Let's try it. Low throttle. Oh, she still dies on us. Well, everything else seems so much better. But I can't give it low throttle or it dies. Same problem. Let me see if I can get that out of it real quick. Nope. Why do you do that? So it's definitely better than it was. Still not perfect though, and I might just never get it perfect with this carburetor. It might just not be possible to get it perfect. But it's pretty close. It's better than it was, obviously, because it was really screwed up before. But it's running the best it ever has right now. Let's try to cut something with it. Nope, that's bad. See, now it's flooded, so. Okay. I'm giving it too much gas on the high, I guess. It really didn't change anything. Still doesn't, I can't get it right. I cannot get it right. I've tried every setting that I can do on this carburetor. Like, I don't know, not to say that I don't know what I'm doing, but I've watched a lot of videos on how to tune a carburetor, and this thing is not acting like any of those saws in those videos do. So that's why I bought the Walbro carb to begin with. I think that still might be our problem, because I mean, I can try to set it to what factory settings would be, which is like a turn and a half, that's half, one turn and a half on the low, half turn and a half on the high, and see what happens, but it ain't gonna make a difference. It just dies on those settings, so. So you need more. To get the 4-stroking out, you need to add more fuel to it. And then it floods itself. And then it floods itself. So you take fuel away from it. And it doesn't want to run. That didn't help. And now it's doing the thing where it gets stuck on high idle. I'm done with this carburetor. One last thing before we just swap this whole carburetor out. Watch this. I've tinkered with it a little bit more. I've gotten it to so it cuts good, doesn't 4-stroke, but then it dies the second you get off the throttle. Never mind. Now it doesn't want to start. I just had it perfect. Apparently not. So this is probably not like the best environment for like working on things like this. But I do want to show you one thing I've seen in a lot of these videos that I've been watching. They talk about the diaphragms going bad. Now this saw only has like maybe 2, 3, probably 2.5 tanks of fuel through it. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm looking for. Like I kind of do, but like, I don't know. They don't look bad to like the untrained eye, really. I mean, an untrained eye like mine, I don't really know. Maybe some of you guys have a better idea, but this one here looks pretty bad to me. I don't know. It looks like it's got like a lot of kinks in it, you know? Kind of crappy. You know, obviously we're dealing with Holzfforma, you know what I mean? But and all the people that were doing breakdowns of carburetors that I've been watching lately, if their diaphragm there looked like that, they were replacing it. So I don't know if that's just them being weird and replacing perfectly good parts, or if these parts are just bad from the factory. You know what I mean? And they're just like they never meet like the initial quality standards of like a new carb kit. Maybe that's part of it too. You know what I mean? Maybe they just never. Maybe they're just junk from the get-go. It's highly possible. But I don't know. I'm done with this carburetor. I don't see it ever working properly. So I'm just gonna pop a new one in it and see what happens. All right, let's see here. Mailman just came. Farmer Boss. Something tells me that I may have paid full price for what is supposed to be a real carburetor and ended up getting a Chinese carburetor. Where is Walbro manufactured? Somebody want to tell me if this is an actual Walbro carb? I don't know. Let me know. It looks It looks legit. I mean, it looks like the other one, but it oh, I guess I'm gonna have to take this plastic piece off for that one to put on this one. It looks legit, you know, to my eyes. I don't really know the difference. You can see the oh, that's interesting. So that plate there is actually mounted on the inside on that one, and on the Chinese one, or the actual Chinese one, it's on the inside. Well, like, see the plate right there? That's the real one, supposedly, and that's the Holzfforma one. Interesting. Well, it also looks like there's some slight differences with these things. Well, let's slap it in, see if it does any better. Okay, new carburetor's on. Let's see if it makes any sort of difference at all. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Okay, new carburetor. I'm gonna pull it a couple times to get fuel up to it, and because I don't have a purge bulb on this saw, so I'm gonna pull it a couple times, then I'll choke it and try to start it. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's see if we're pulling fuel. That's a weird look, right? I've got. I'm just gonna pull the fuel line off, see if it's pulling fuel. Not enough. Nothing came out. I'm gonna try a couple more pumps without the choke on. Oh, my choke lever came off. That's great. Alright. Pump it a couple times with no choke. Rechoke it. Oh. Anything? Alright, I'm not getting fuel now. Nothing. Well, what could cause that? Got fuel. Aha, I got fuel now. Haha. Haha. Hang on a sec. That actually worked. That actually, believe it or not, whatever I just did there. Maybe it was just from pulling this. Actually. That might have been. Or maybe I didn't have to put it upside down. Okay. We have fuel. Choking. Maybe we need more fuel. Alright, we have plenty of fuel now. There's no reason it shouldn't start. I just pumped it or cranked it like a bunch of times, and a bunch of fuel came out of the fuel pipe, so whatever the hell it's called. Fuel line. Alright. Should have plenty of fuel. Alright, as you guys can see, it's running right now with the new carburetor in it. What I ended up having to do, I could not get it to pull fuel from just cranking it, so I might have, I don't know, an issue with vacuum somewhere in the saw. I'm kind of gonna rule that out though, because like it is pulling fuel now. But what I had to do to prime it, like I tried, you see I got the air filter off right now. I tried to like put some gas on the air filter so it would suck some gas in and then hopefully run and then start pulling a better vacuum. And that worked for like a second, or like it really didn't work. It just kind of burnt the fuel that was on the filter, and then it went back to just like not running again. So what I did is I took this screw out right there. I took that screw out of the carb, and then I took like the cap of, basically the cap of the gas can there, put gas in that, and then poured that into the top of the carburetor, and then put the screw back in and put the gaskets back on and put the screw back in. So basically I primed the carburetor, like forcefully primed or like not forceful, not, I don't know what the word for that is, but I opened it up and put fuel in it because it just couldn't pull any by itself. But now that it has fuel in it, and it has to be pulling fuel by itself for like by now, it's been idling for probably almost 10 minutes, so I'm sure it's pulling fuel now. I have not touched the adjustment screws at all. Haven't touched the adjustment screws. It's just been, I think I kind of like where it's set from the factory, honestly. It's running really good, and I have my low end back ready. So I couldn't do that before. I couldn't just give it a little bit of throttle. It would die out on me. I couldn't really do anything with it. It would die out on me. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna wait. We'll go make some cuts with it. I'll put the air filter back on once the air filter dries out, because every time I put the air filter on, it dies because the air filter's kind of covered in fuel right now, because I tried to do that little trick, but it didn't work. So, yeah, I'll wait a minute. We'll go make some cuts with it and see what happens. All right, so I got it all back together. So I'm gonna start it up, and I don't know, I might tweak it a little bit, but I really don't think I'm going to. Seems okay, unless I put it in the wood and something else happens. But we're gonna try low RPM, which is like to see if it stalls out, because before I'd give it like, you know, a little bit of, it was just doing all kinds of crazy things before. But I'd give it a little bit of throttle, and it would want to die, or it would die just by itself sitting there. And then if I gave it a little bit of throttle and tried to put it in the wood, it died instantly. So we're gonna check that out, see if that issue's fixed, and then see if we can really give it some into the wood and then let off and see if it'll drop back down to idle and keep idling. I have a feeling that it will. I think that carburetor was, I don't know, I think it was just a piece of crap, you know, obviously, because it's probably $10, $15 from China or something like that. Which is funny because I have a Holzfforma 395 as well that I bought after I bought this one. Because I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool little saw. So I bought the 395, and then this one started giving me problems. So the 395 runs great. Like, I haven't had any issues with that yet. I cut up a bunch of stuff with it, you know, last week or the week before. I haven't used it super recently, but it has the same brand carburetor in it as this saw did before. So if that one ends up giving me issues, I'll probably swap it out to one of these. But yeah, let's do some test cuts, see what happens. after you give it a lot of gas and then put it in the wood. So I'm gonna try to fix that, try to get that out, because it is 4-stroking a lot in the cut. And you guys can't see me anyway. I'm just gonna open up the high jet a little bit. See if that fixes our problem. And this is why I didn't want to mess with it. So I gave it a little more high jet. Idle went up. Now I'm going to start chasing it. Oh, I think this saw has an air leak. Okay, so I think I got it now. My stupid ass came all the way out here to test it, ran it out of fuel, and kept trying to tinker with it. So I had it pretty set over at the house, right? And then I come over here to cut with it, ran it out of gas. I didn't check to make sure it had gas in it before I came out here. So that's why it was just freaking dying on me like that, I think. So let's see. We got gas now. Let's see if this works. And I know I should be wearing my chainsaw pants. I, you know, do as I say, not as I do. Alright. if it restarts. Okay, I think I sorted it out. So, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but you guys remember from the beginning of this video, it was basically running like it had no gas all the time. Like when I just ran it out of gas, I swear to God, it was not just running out of gas. I had the tank full yesterday when I was showing you guys the other carb. But look at the chips this stock chain throws too. This is stock Husqvarna X-cut chain, and that's on the back bar, but like that's pretty good for stock. Like that's pretty gnarly chips right there. I haven't touched anything on this at all. This is stock chips. That's pretty good. It's idling. I have low end torque. So things that it wouldn't do before. It wouldn't idle. I had no low end torque, and it would shut off after I revved it high. And you had to rev it high or else it would die. Now, with this new carburetor, and with it tuned, at least where I have it right now, which, like, I know it probably isn't perfect, but I think it's pretty close. It seems to be doing good, which I didn't expect. I thought I was going to have another problem with this thing, but it seems to be fine. I think I have it tuned right where I want it. The RPMs come back down after you let off. It doesn't die. I guess we'll see how long it lasts now. So anyway, if this video helped you guys, if you guys were having issues with your stock carb or was having problems like that, number one thing to check, do you have fucking gas in it? Number two thing to check is how old is your gas? If you're using gas that's like from the previous season, like winter goes by and you're trying to use that same gas, it's gonna act basically like it has no gas, because it effectively doesn't. The gas has lost all of its ability to go. I did that, obviously, you know, beginner shit, but I'm a big chainsaw beginner, obviously, so I'm kind of working through all these things that, you know, professionals might understand this stuff more than me, but just regular homeowner stuff, you know, like, you can't use the same gas from the fucking year before. It doesn't work, and you need to have gas in the saw for it to run. And if you have good gas and you got spark and your saw is still running like shit and it's one of these, then you might want to swap it to an OEM carb like this one. Just know that you might have to do some extra priming with it. I literally took the top of the carburetor off, put gas in it, and put it back together. And now it's great. So, yeah, hopefully this helped you guys out. I know it's kind of a little bit all over the place, but if the result is a $200 saw running, well, now it's a $300 saw, almost $350 saw, really, bar and chain and whatnot. I probably should have just bought a regular 372, to be honest, but you know, like a real Husqvarna. Probably should have just got one of those, and I will probably anyway, because I don't know, I probably will anyway. It would have been a lot easier. We would have had the good carb to begin with. This thing is going to have other issues going down the road. I know it's going to. But for now, until something like a crank seal goes or something like that, could be fun to play around with. So anyway, hopefully this helped you. Talk to you guys later.